Okay, it's 8:01. I guess we should get started. Hello, folks online, all the ships at sea, whatever they used to say. Welcome to our October meeting. I'm Mike Morrow, the president. I think most people here have seen me. And tonight we're going to start the regular meeting and then immediately leave the regular meeting and start the AGM. No,
AGM first.
that's what I just said, but it's still a regular meeting until I say it's the AGM. Okay,
They got power.
see, this is the regular meeting and the AGM starts. So I'll start with an acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We would also like to recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Nunatuavut, and the Innu of Nitassinan, and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. And just a couple of weeks ago was Truth and Reconciliation Day, so hopefully people were thinking a little bit about what that's all about. So with that, I'm going to now start the AGM. So I'm going to lower this window, and Randy, you can tell me if the right one comes up. Okay, so welcome to St. John's Center 2023-2024 annual general meeting. I'm going to start with a president's report, try and go through that fairly quickly. And then Jim Johnson's going to give us the treasurer's report. Doug Grouchy is going to give us the audit report. Randy will say something about membership. We'll hear about committees, and then we'll have an election. And then we'll go on, we'll wrap that up then and go on with our regular meeting. So we had a pretty busy year, partly because we did lots of things and partly because the universe did lots of things to entertain us. So I'd like to start by thanking the executive and all the members for their participation. And you'll see some of the, well, most of the activities we did, and it wouldn't be possible without everybody's engagement and enthusiasm. So I'd like to start with a thank you to everyone that's made this year possible. So this is just a quick summary. I won't go through in too much detail, but these are the meetings we had. So after our last annual general meeting, we had a members presentation. Sue, Greg, and Jim Stacy presented. Anna O'Grady told us about some of her new research in December. And then we started to have a bit of a theme in the winter. Randy got us thinking about the solar eclipse in January. Nikolai got us thinking about the weather for the solar eclipse in February. Gary told us about his trip down under, to New Zealand. Do they call New Zealand down under? Okay. And then in April, we sort of recapped what we saw at the solar eclipse. Another member presentation, Jim Stacy, David, Eric, Chris, Stevenson, and Randy. In May, Michael Power, one of the students in Hilding's group, talked in June. And then we came back last month and I did a report on our summer activity. So those are what our meetings look like. Some of our members got some recognition. So Jim Stacy got an award from the Canadian Association for Photographic Art for this picture. First place for landscape. So congratulations to Jim, who I don't know if Jim's online or not, but I don't see him, but congratulations in absentia. And then we had our own astro imaging contest. So Jim won for the wide field for this picture, Earthshine, and for the solar system for this lunar eclipse picture. And Bernard, who I think is online, won for this picture for Deep Sky. And we had some honorable mentions, which I'll just remind you of. And I'll say something about that coming up. Gary Diamond celebrated 34 years in the planetarium, which we saw online. And Anna O'Grady was the Faculty of Science, Elizabeth Laird public lecturer in March, and that's quite an honor. So I'm including that as one of our recognitions. We had some sad milestones. We had some former members who passed away, Mike Wiltshire most recently, and Michael Crawford and Florence McNeely earlier in the year. We had some other center activities. So Gary presented some members-only planetarium shows during the winter and the spring. The total solar eclipse was sort of a center activity. It wasn't put on expressly for us, but we took advantage of it. And so lots of stuff went on. Gary and Randy were very active in outreach, and I'll say a bit more about that, and media activities. And I think we pretty much had members on the day of the eclipse all the way across the path of totality. And we did lots about that in our wrap-up meeting. Gary arranged for our observation report slides for the previous year to be running, I guess, on a loop at the Geo Center. So thank you for doing that. And Chris Stevenson and Doug Grouchy represented us at the Eastern Newfoundland Science and Technology Fair, and they judged, but didn't come up with they judged some science and engineering, but there were no astronomy prizes given out. We had a number of public observing events. The one in July was pretty low turnout because word didn't really get out very well. Then in May, we had International Astronomy Day, and Jim Stacy and Nikolai Demyanov talked about their eclipse experiences. We had the Butterpot Star Party and the Terra Nova Night Sky Celebration. And in September, we had a very successful International Observe the Moon Night. So just remind you of some of these. So the International Astronomy Day in May. So we could do some solar observing, some telescope help in the celestial room. That's the celestial room, right?
Yeah.
And and then in July, this was the Observe the Moon that we didn't really get many people out to. And you can see that it was a little bit cloudy, but then in weather was a bit of an issue for some of our public events this year. So for the Butterpot Star Party, you can see, there's a little bit of cloud there. So this was the Friday night, and some pictures from that. And then really nothing happened on the Saturday, but we called an audible and came back on Sunday and set up for the moon and some objects on Sunday night, and there were a few people there. And then in Terra Nova, again, weather was an issue, so it went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday was raining, but we had some events inside the activity center. David Saunders from the park gave a dark sky talk, and there were some crafts. Saturday morning, you can see that clouds were a bit of an issue. We did have some solar viewing, and Chris Stevenson ran the solar system walk. I guess we got rained on a few times during the day. And I guess there were reports of funnel clouds while we were doing it. So it was that kind of day. We set up in the evening, and in our defense, if you look at the sky here, it looked not bad, but about 5 minutes after that picture, or maybe half an hour after that picture, it was thunder and lightning. So that didn't work out, but we did do a little more solar viewing on the Sunday. The International Observe the Moon Night in September. Hundreds of people, lots of telescopes, lots of visitors, and see lots of happy faces. Lots of big telescopes and little telescopes. So those were our public observing events. We also did some presentations. I talked to some different Cub groups. Randy gave 3 talks about the eclipse, and Gary did what Gary does, which is an enormous amount of stuff. At least 34 talks. A lot of, I guess, most of the Marine Institute Scout guide groups and adult groups. In the lead up to the eclipse, Gary did 7 interviews across the province. And Randy did an hour-long broadcast of the signal. And Gary was also interviewed for in August for the Perseids and the blue supermoon, and in September about the International Observe the Moon Night. And I'll just finish up with remind people about the RSE NL Talk group. I think that's one of the real assets of our group. It's one of the real benefits of membership. A lot of mentoring and alerts and discussion. I think there's about 33 members. There were about 4,200 postings last year, and there were about 1,200 photos posted, but not all of them were astro images, but a lot were. And over the year, Jim posted a number of Google Meet sessions, which, you know, sometimes there'd only be a couple of us on, but they were a lot of fun as well. Okay, so that's the yes.
For the eclipse, we distributed more than 2,000 pairs of glasses.
Okay, I didn't get that, but you should maybe remind me of that when it comes to write up the real thing. Okay, yeah, so yeah, a lot of glasses handed out. So that's the end of the president's report, and I think Jim Johnson, our treasurer, is up next, and his slides are ready to go. So take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Am I standing in the right spot, Randy?
What's that?
Oh, he was following.
He just does that. He just does that on purpose.
Oh, I can see myself. All right, so financial reports. So our financial year runs from October 1st to September 30th of every year. E-transfers, again, works very well. Gives us the ability basically to not have any hands-on cash. It's great for accountability and those sorts of things. And just, I think it's just easy all around for everyone to, you know, be able to pay for stuff and that sort of thing. It is the preferred method of payment for the St. John's Center items. And obviously, I haven't said that the any national fees and stuff, you know, our annual membership, that obviously goes through a national website and has nothing to do with this email address that you see here. So there's the address for any payments. So things like calendars that we sell, mugs, glasses, those sorts of things. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions on any of that? No questions? Any questions online?
Great, Jim. Great job. Thank you. So the next, Doug's gonna tell us about, Doug checked the books over, so you can just go down to the next slide, and that's your
Okay.
report there.
I'm the auditor of this report, and I approve this message from Jim. Yeah, so I'm not really an auditor. I just did a review of the books, and I looked at all the money in and all the money out, and the spreadsheet that's the basis of our accounting system. This is the detailed report. However, I can paraphrase it. Great job, Jim. And everything was done quite well, and it was very easy to audit because Jim is so organized with these records. And that's my report.
Okay,
Yep.
barely had time to sit down. Thank you very much. That's an important thing for a nonprofit group to have done by somebody, so we appreciate you doing that. So Randy, do you want to do your membership review now? And the slide you sent me is the next one on the. So. Where am I supposed to be? Here. Hello. Anybody not know me? I'm secretary. So I'll have to sit down so you can see me, right? This little membership report that we get from National is good on the minute that I take the snapshot of it, but our membership renewal is different for everybody, except for all of us old people. We used to have a set expiry date. It's in the fall, September end. So a lot like myself and Gary and some other people, we all renew at the end of September. All of you newer people, you renew when your time is up. So in terms of membership in the year, it's all fluid, right? So really what I can say is the active members were always around 65, 66. Like today, Gary renewed today, 67, right? People drop off, people join in. So that's about our numbers. If I believe the expired number at 17, I don't think we lost 17 people last year. And we picked up 5 or 6 new people, mostly recently, right? So I guess I have to apologize on behalf of the national office. The RASC was in financial trouble last year, so we ended up losing most of our office staff, and they're not doing a very good job in sending out renewal notices. I think their current standard is 1 notice a month before and 1 the week before. So I try and then send out a note to people. The way renewals go is as soon as you are expired, you got a 3 months lapse period where you're still renewable and you still count as a member. But I had to go looking for you, right? All right.
So you know.
Yeah.
My membership expired. Up to that before December, anyway.
Yeah.
And when I went in today,
Mhm.
they just let me renew.
Okay. Well,
So I went in to register as a new member.
yeah. There's no real difference anyway. Yeah.
You want to renew?
Yeah.
And it let me.
Yeah. The only difference when you get ready for your 50-year certificate, it may not say 50 years on it.
Okay with me.
Okay. So any questions about that? All of our membership activities are done by the national office. So you have to create an account to get there. So you can go look at all the stuff that's on the national.
And what's the difference between active members and total members?
Okay, thank you very much, Randy. Okay, so our next thing is some committee reports. So Doug, do you want to say a little bit about the LPA committee? And
Yes, the LPA committee is the Light Pollution Abatement Committee, and it was not active last year.
maybe you should come down because I think the microphone's right here. So
Okay. Here we go. So the LPA committee is the Light Pollution Abatement Committee, and it really wasn't active in the past year. The last meeting we had was in April of 2024. So that's that. Really nothing to report on that. The Dark Sky Preserve Committee, which is a subset of the Light Pollution Abatement Committee, was active. Is actually myself, and by default, Mike, who happens to be the default because he's president. In any event, we were active. We met with Terranova National Park, which is our dark sky preserve in Newfoundland. And we planned the activities of the night sky celebration that took place in August that Mike showed on screen earlier. And we also did something else. I can't recall now because I didn't write down my report. But yes, I did a audit. Yeah, in June.
You should remember audit.
Yeah, there you go, another audit. So I did an audit in June of the lighting at the Terra Nova National Park, and just looking to see that the lighting is in compliance with the dark sky preserve principles. And it's a constant, we had to be constantly checking, because even though the technology's changed, and it seems like technologies are moving more towards dark sky compliant devices and lighting, as each new piece of lighting comes around, there's challenges like the way it's mounted and the color temperature of the lighting. Is it shielded or not? It's you really have to be constantly vigilant over lighting in a dark sky preserve. So we do an annual audit of that, and that's my report. There you go.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Robert, do you have a report on the observatory? Okay, that should just make sure you're. Oh, okay. Okay,
Fellow members, not a lot to report on the from the observatory committee. Save it to say that we now have the material to build a sub pier that will be from the concrete base, which is at the floor of the deck out at Butterpot, up to the sandwich, which is a mechanical affair where the telescope mount would be mounted. So we have a steel plate for the bottom and the pipe, and I intend to make those two over the winter, and then look at how, or if we'll buy a sandwich. I call it a sandwich. Others call it something less endearing. I think commonly it's called a rat's cage. But like I say, I don't like that terminology. In any case, the park, Butterpot Park, the ranger and the staff out there are ready to root on helping us to build the wooden structure for the roll-off roof. Now, of course, it's the wrong time of the year really to be thinking about starting to build such a thing, but I would like to re-energize our committee and re-energize our members around trying to get the observatory off the ground, so to speak, the roll-off roof. And we have another member on our committee, Chris Stevenson, who plans to basically build the optical tube assembly, the OTA, which is basically the telescope itself, out of a large diameter mirror that he has. So that'll be in Chris's ballpark. So I'm just hoping that throughout the winter, I might be able to get some more people interested in joining up to our committee, so that we can start to make our plans and try to get some steam going to get our observatory off the ground, which will be a really intense focal point for our activities out at the park. So that's all I have about that, about the observatory committee. Thanks.
Any questions? Randy? Randy?
The money for the observatory is coming from the DIC that Jim mentioned.
Yeah.
So don't go over 25.
Oh, don't worry. After I come back from my, for a holiday, I'll see what it is.
Okay, so I guess Randy takes over now, right? And so you don't have any slides for this, you're just gonna.
No, it's all secret.
I can't wait to hear who's nominations.
I need to turn on the projector.
Folks at home. Oh, you know what I can do? I can turn this camera so that they can see it. You're gonna have to turn on the document camera. And, okay, and I'm gonna put that up so that people can.
Normally we have someone to run this affair for us. He was not able to come at the last minute because we changed the time. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a few years, so. What we've generally tried to do the last number of years, we, from history, would learn that, if we had open elections, nobody would show up. Afraid of a press gang, etc. So, I'm charged with, trying to find a slate of candidates for the meeting. If you were here last month, I asked for any volunteers who are willing to stand for election in any of the positions. All the positions are mentioned in the Constitution, which is online. I also wrote some people and asked them if they would be interested. And I have some replies, and we have a slate. Our Constitution also allows for nominations from the floor. If you are a paid up member and you get a seconder, you can be added to the ballot. Here's the list of people who have agreed to stand. Any of the people mentioned here now not willing to stand for the office that they're being nominated for. Last chance. Okay. This is the slate. It saves us a lot of work in electioneering and voting and stuff. Is there anyone interested in any position mentioned here? We need music, right? Is there anyone interested in a position?
I do have a question though. Are you
Okay.
posting a mic for people online?
I don't care about, well, all this gets edited out
Okay.
anyway, so. Can you hear me?
Is anybody?
I don't know where the microphone is, right?
It's
Is this thing?
it's in the like, well, actually, I'm not sure. It's somewhere close to that computer.
You can't see chat dialogue from Zoom here, can you?
Should be able to, they should be able to say chat.
But I need to check to see if anyone,
Hey, have to go up to the top here and do that, and there's a chat there,
no, that was the question about the member.
Yeah. but that's how you see the chat.
Yeah.
So there's chat now, so you can monitor the chat.
Last chance, anybody interested in any position mentioned here? Someone move that nominations close? Closed, okay. So here are the positions, here are the candidates, here are the elected. We have one new person joining the executive this year. John. John has also indicated that he would like to join the observatory committee, if you'll have him. Most of our committees, or all of our committees, are reformed after the general meeting, so he'll be in touch with you. Right? Okay. If you are still interested and maybe shy, don't want to address this sort of stuff here in the meeting, we have the ability to add people any time of the year for any position we want to, other than the ones that are here. If you are interested in attending an executive meeting, I mean, no secret, we don't do a whole lot there. We don't wine and dine and beer up on that executive meeting. So You know, if you're interested in attending the executive meeting, let me know, and I'll send you.
They're done by Zoom.
We Zoom on the first Wednesday of the month. And usually about an hour, so that's the commitment of time for most people. These meetings, also, most of the executive are involved in all the activities that we do, all the observing events, those sorts of things, so. Any questions? No questions. That would be easy. I'm done.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
What's that for you in your foundation?
So with that, let's see, I gotta change.
Wasn't that easy?
Oh,
Are you gonna
that
check
seems to be the last slide there, so,
Make sure you don't approve that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, Mike, it's so nice to see you as president.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, then, let's see, I gotta find. There we are. So with that, we have to adjourn the AGM. Do I have a motion to adjourn? There we are. All in favor? Okay, the AGM is over. Now we're gonna convene the regular meeting. That just happened. And so the next step is normally the new president would thank the outgoing executive for all the work over the past year, but that's fine. I'm still going to thank the remaining executive for all their work and for continuing. So thank you very much. That's in my role as the new president, so to speak. Okay, so I don't know if, I think you're a member now, right? Yeah, so I think everybody's members anyways, but we do have benefits, and I'll just remind you, if the one benefit that I think is really special for this group is the chat line, RSCNL Talk. If you want to get involved, get in touch with Randy, just send something to Randy, or you all get emails from Randy, so you know how to get in touch with him. And it's really a very nice way to share observations, to share alerts, to discuss things, sometimes to chat, and for mentorship and, you know, getting advice and that sort of thing. So I think, you know, if you're a member, that's really something that, you know, it's just fun to see everybody's pictures. And we've got the newsletter and the bulletin, which the newsletter you get the bulletin, I guess you get no matter what newsletter you have to sign up for. And so some announcements. You're going to talk next month, right?
Sure. So
Jim's going to talk about his 8-inch RASA, and there's what RASA stands for. That we've seen lots of nice pictures from, so he's going to tell us a bit about how that works. There is a new astro imaging contest coming. The timing is going to be a little bit different this year than last year. So the submission period is going to start in January, and we'll sort of wrap it up at the end of the year. And details will be coming soon. I guess Jim and Robert are doing that. And I just wanted to show you something here. I came across, now this is a little bit scary because the Nobel Prize this year in physics, well, actually there were 2 Nobel Prizes that were for artificial intelligence. And so Google now actually anticipates what we're interested in, reads your mind. So I came into my office one day and turned on a computer that I only turn on once a week, and Chrome came up, and it was on this website. I hadn't looked up anything, but I may have said something at home that I don't know who's listening, but anyways, so let me see, where did this come up? Okay. So I'm going to slide this over here. I gave a talk a little while ago about Lucy. This is the mission that was launched almost 2 years ago this month. Well, it was 2 years ago this month. That's going to go up to the asteroids that are trapped in Jupiter's orbit. And it's I really enjoy it because it actually had to do go around the Earth once, get a gravity assist, go out to the main asteroid belt. So this is the main asteroid belt. There's Jupiter. These sort of things are the some of the asteroids. And so this is a very nice little site. So the Earth is the green dot, Mars is the red dot, Venus is the yellow dot. Lucy's not there yet. Lucy's going to launch now. Nope. Sorry. There. Okay, so there's Lucy just launched. It's the white dot. So it did a loop around the Earth, got a boost, and then made it out to the main asteroid belt where it met up with, here it was Donald Johanson, who's actually the archaeologist who discovered the Lucy skeleton, and then is coming back in. And so today, if I click on this today, I'm actually pretty close to that right now, looks like. Yeah, 16th. So Lucy's on its way back, and on December there, what's that? December 14th or so, Lucy's going to do a close pass of Earth, get another boost, and then it's on its way out to Jupiter. And when it gets there, it's going to meet this group of asteroids, and this is the L4 swarm. It's going to take some pictures of them, and then it's going to, and that's so you can see the date there.
You just scroll down like and cut off here.
Okay, sorry. That date is December 26th, and then it does another swing past Earth, and then goes back out and meets another one. So I ran into that. It's a fun little video game. And the amusing thing is that another mission, which is the JUICE mission, now they've got Where is Clipper too. So you can click on these ones and do exactly the same thing with these other missions. So it's where is Lucy.space, and then you can get to these other ones. And I thought people might be amused if you are trying to waste time and not do other things. Okay, and I've put that one down there as well. So now this is the Doug Grouchy show tonight. So Doug's now going to give us a talk about binoculars and a particular interesting set of binoculars. And you stand there and I'll line this up on you. Okay. So you stand about here and speak, then move over this way. Okay. Good. Okay. Take it away.
Thank you. So this is my review of 2x54 binoculars. There they are. And actually, that's all my binoculars. My whole collection. And actually, yes, it's an even bigger problem because that's not really all of the binoculars. There's maybe 3 or 4 kicking around.
The telescope, the same thing.
So you got my 20x80s here. I bought cheap binoculars. So I was looking in the handbook. Roy Bishop wrote a write-up on binoculars in the RSC handbook. And he said, really, you don't want to pay anything less than, I think it was $100 for binoculars. So most of these binoculars are less than $100. And Roy said that in the book, he said that most people don't realize how good binoculars are because they haven't had a good set, right? So that's me. So you're quite happy with them if you haven't had like a Nikon or something like that. So like these were probably $80, and I looked through all these binoculars on this particular day, and I gained more of a favorable impression of my 10x50s. I like low power, 7x35 or something like that, or these new ones. But the 10x50s are pretty good. So these are the Constellation binoculars.
So Doug, maybe you can sort of wave them in front of the camera once.
Oh, wave them. Yeah, there you go. So here they are. They are a very small binocular. They weigh just about less than a loaf of bread. So less than 450 grams. And there's a glam shot of them there next to my sundial. So my overall impression of these things is that they're very well made. These are a Chinese Sky Rover brand. I was looking for the Orion brand, but the Orion I don't think is around anymore. There are a few people from the center who have these binoculars. So Chris Stevenson has them, and so does Marcellus has a pair as well. Probably different brands. They're probably Orions. Very well made. They're all metal construction, except for the glass, which is glass. And these are a Galilean style of optics. So you have a front lens and a back lens, basically. Compare that to your standard 10x50 binocular, which has a prism in here, and the light takes a zigzag path to get into the eyepiece. Or compare them to Randy's. I'm sure that they cost more than $100. Bushnell 8x42, I think. And these have a poro prism in them. So it's just a straight pathway through, but it's not a zigzag like the 10x50s. And just for comparison, if you want to look at the two kinds of binoculars, so here we have, orient them, okay? So sideways, look how small these are. The front end, it looks pretty much the same. And with this kit came rubber eye cups. Went on to cloudy nights, and people on cloudy nights said that the rubber eye cups were not very good, but I find they fit quite well. And it also comes with a case and a strap, which is handy. So I look at them as owl eyes. So these are a 2x magnification. And when you put them on, everything just comes like a little bit closer. And the big thing about these, that I think it's a 36-degree advertised field of view when you're looking at the sky. On cloudy nights or skies, whatever the thing is, a lot of people say that 36 is more theoretical. It's probably closer to 28 degrees. And what does that mean? Well, when you look at the Big Dipper, you can look at the whole Big Dipper. So that's the pot and the handle with some space left over on the outside of your field of view. Very comfortable. And if you were to look at the Big Dipper with a set of 10x50s, or really any reasonably sized binocular, you're going to see maybe 2 stars at a time. Whereas with this, you can see the whole thing. And you don't need to take them off to find the next constellation. If you just scan around, you'll find Lyra quite easily, that kind of thing. So the wide field is fabulous. I've used them with my glasses on and off. The focusing takes place on the back. Each eye is focused individually versus a central focus on your 10x50s. So that makes them a little inconvenient to pass between people if you use eyeglasses like I do. And one of the other handy things that came with them is a set of eye cups. So you can just put an eye cup on. So this is the eye cup. It's got an elliptical kind of shape to it, and it just fits over the eyepiece. And 2 of those will block out any light coming into your eyes. So you can, as long as you're not wearing eyeglasses. So very handy. However, I will say, because you're actually focusing on the rings, if you have it on while you're focusing, the eye cup is going to rotate around and not fit in your eye. So you have to, focus it and put it on. They spread out a fair bit, And I use them more like this, so very close together. One of the complaints I heard about these things is that they go together so much that you can't get your nose in them. You know, so like a regular binocular, your nose can fit right in there. But with these, I mean, you can't. You know, it depends on your build, I guess. But I find that I don't have a problem because I'll just move my head forward and I can see. So these are the different views. And one thing I'll just mention is that the focusing rings are knurled, and it's a very good, comfortable knurl on them. Something that may not be too comfortable is that they are metal. So if you're putting them up against your eyeglasses, you know, it's going to click against them. However, if you put these things on, they're quite pleasant. I've used them with glasses on and off, and of course, when you have your glasses off and put right up to your eyes, you definitely get a wider field of view. If it's out in your glasses, the field is going to drop a bit, but still, it's still a fabulous wide field. And just something else that I mentioned about these as well. It's just a comparison of different binoculars there. I use them in Mount Pearl. So looking at the Big Dipper, I can see maybe 2 or 3 stars of it. As soon as I put this up, I can see the whole thing. So it really draws in with all this wide lens. Objective, it just draws in all the stars, and you can see full constellations and tons of satellites. Not necessarily a plus, you know. So the comparison on the screen here is the 10 by 50s, and it's some opera glasses. I was trying some low power opera glasses. These ones here are probably close to 100 years old, and very nice wide field of view, actually, about 4 times magnification. These are probably 40 to 50, maybe 40 years old. These, I got them off of eBay, and similar kind of to these here. But with these wide field 4 times binoculars, opera glasses, the field of view isn't much different from a full size binocular, really. The benefit I found with those was if you're sitting down and maybe there's a bumblebee going through a bush or something, you can have a good look at that bumblebee with a small opera glass. You can actually use these two, but I don't really find them that they're so only 2 power. So for daytime looking at things, probably not optimal. And that's the narrow and wide spread of the goggles there. And what they look like on someone other than me. And one thing I'll just mention here is that these are really good handheld because of the wide field view. There is on the front of this binocular, you can take this big cap off and you can mount it on a tripod. However, not necessary. I mean, these are almost like putting on a pair of glasses. So, and they are like almost a pound, but they're so close to your face, it's not really onerous to use them for a long time. So there's the eye cups and the focusing. You can wear it you can use it with a hat. I found the hat was fine. It didn't actually change the optics at all. Some details. So I got these off of eBay. I tried to get them off of Amazon, and there's a nice, very good telescope and binocular place out west. I can't recall the name of the place out there, but that sells online. Can't get them. I had to go by eBay to get them, and it cost all told, shipping included, $253. The rubber eye cups that came with it, well, these are extra. They might have been $8 or something extra, and they were worth every cent. Came from China. What doesn't? No duty on it. So I was expecting some duty, but nothing. Arrived in a very reasonable amount of time. The angular field of view, 36 degrees, probably a bit overstated, more like 28. Let's see, diameter and the weight, 390 grams. So that's basically half the weight of a 10 by 50. And there you go. Any questions?
What's the brand?
These are called, yeah.
So, Doug, have you tried looking at something like the Andromeda Galaxy or any, any help for something like that?
I haven't gotten out of the city with them, so I haven't really had a good look. I did look in that general direction, and I saw a great constellation, but I didn't really get a good look at Andromeda with these. It'd be nice to try them in a dark sky, which I haven't been out to yet. So, yeah, that's the main thing. Like, you can see a full constellation with these things, and you can actually find others without taking the binoculars off your face. That's the big benefit of them. Very compact. You can strap is handy. You can just hang them down there, close your jacket over them. So, my favorite pair of binoculars right now, the most expensive pair I have. The next ones to these I have are the solar binoculars, which probably cost about 150, maybe close to 200, which I got from a Canadian supply in Alberta.
So, question online or comment online. People have used them at museums and sporting events to get a closer look. So they do use the data.
Yeah, you could like bring them to a concert, Taylor Swift or whatever, if you're into that, and see what, get a closer view. For that kind of thing, though, I would probably go with I don't know if I can get back there, an opera glass. Because like an opera glass will fit in your pocket. And these will too. But you'll get that little bit of extra magnification as well. But yeah, definitely. If you're looking at, I've looked at with plants. So you can walk up to the plant, you don't need to magnify it, but I look at the plants with these things around the house.
With any chromatic aberration?
Now, that's one thing.
Okay, the moon.
I haven't looked at the moon with these. There probably is, but I don't know. I'm not really that technical with optics, with like what the edge is like versus the center. However, I can tell you that they're very sensitive to where your eyes go to see through. So these have a very large eyepiece area. Very large. I mean, look at that compared to, actually, it's a little comparable. These are a little bit smaller. So when you have a low power and a big piece of glass you're looking through, I find you really got to find a sweet spot in there. So if they're out too far, I really got to get them right down to where I need them. And generally, I got them very close, like that. If you have them wide, a bit too wide for you, you can still see through, but it's a bit off. So yeah, it's not like most binoculars where if you're looking through them, you're going to see a sharp image. But these, you really got to fiddle like to get them right.
When you were looking for those like on eBay and Amazon and the like, did you see any that were meant to be like have a strap for around your head so you could go hands-free?
There is a smaller size of this. I think it's a 40 something objective, 40 millimeter around there, with 3 times power. And the reviews on cloudy nights was that they're good, but if you're going to go for a pair, get these. But the lower power one or the higher power ones, which were a little bit smaller, could actually be fitted on something to stay on your face. I think it was like a doctor's ring, with that little that mirrored doctor's device. Go ahead, Mike.
And so I went online because I was looking at your slides before meeting, and I saw Sky Rover, I think on Amazon, and there was, maybe it was Alibaba or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I saw the Sky Rover for about the price you were talking about, but there was also somebody advertising, and you could see in the picture that it was Sky Rover because you could.
Yeah.
They didn't call it Sky Rover, but you could see the writing on the edge. But it had some anti-reflection filters on it or something, and they wanted $1,300 for it. But it was that pair, something screwed on the front.
The prices are wild online. I did look at Alibaba. I've never bought anything off that site, and I'm sort of skeptical of it. But there's these going for $50 or $20 even on Alibaba. So, I didn't trust that. I know what these go for, so I found, a reputable thing on eBay. I just don't trust the Alibaba. Yeah.
Same as AliExpress?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
No, it's AliExpress.
yeah, that's it.
Oh, AliExpress.
Yeah, AliExpress, yes.
That's
Yeah,
what I-
AliExpress is 182, right? For this one anyway.
Okay, well, that's
$100
I bought stuff.
that's the US price. So that's basically what I paid for these in US.
Stuff from AliExpress.
Yeah. Yeah, but you'll see prices swing wildly there from, what's the advantage of these? Well,
They're too powerful. I don't understand.
Two.
Because they brighten up the sky?
yeah, it's a light gathering for sure.
I'm sorry, I don't see them.
Well, I like looking at constellations and being able to see the whole thing when I can only see like 2 stars in the backyard. Now I can see the whole thing with this. That's pretty good for me.
So you see a lot more stars, so it's giving you a lot more increase in the
Light gathering.
light
Right.
gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just about the magnification, you got.
Yeah,
Forcing it down.
Yeah.
So that you get the effect of those main lenses.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's basically an extension of your eye. It's not quite the same thing as looking through a
Yeah.
telescope. It's like an extension of your eye, so you have a different effect. It's almost like you use your eyes, but they're more.
Yeah, they're not going to be their main thing, but they're very pleasant to use.
scattered along.
So.
Various factors.
It's on the place.
Hey, Gary. Yeah.
Have you tried them on the Andromeda Galaxy?
No, I haven't seen Andromeda with these because I've been in town and it's sort of faint. So you're not really going to get a good look at Andromeda with these.
Depends on,
Yeah,
I guess, what you're looking over. We're over in the east end,
yeah,
and the right time of year between our house and the bank for the property next door, I can look east and you can actually see it with the naked eye. I was thinking they probably bring it out.
yeah. There you go. Can you imagine what this guy would see if he could, if he could see? Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
And thank you.
I just say, like, I actually got the trials and you got the last, observed moon.
Yeah.
I tried them all, they work well, yeah. See all the stars.
Okay, so we had an observing event last Friday, right? And it was pretty clear. It was again, weather was interesting. We had clear, we had cloud, we had a little bit of rain. But we went until about 9 o'clock. We didn't see the comet, but we didn't expect to. Lots of people, lots of telescopes. Building Nielsen brought along a couple of his students and 2 telescopes. We figured at least 100 visitors. Lots of things that we looked at. So here's a few pictures. Setting up at the beginning. This screen's getting kind of funny, but just a few of the people. Yeah, there's Hildy Nielsen with his telescope, Robert, Jim Stacy. Few people there that look familiar. And so that was a good event. So now I'll get on to the yeah, Marcellus said for hands-free, you have to do it yourself conversion on one of those old 3D cell phone viewers from a couple years ago. If you know where the smudges galaxies are, you can see them in the dark sky. Yes, Andromeda, but barely in the city. Same with M13. So that's from Marcellus. Okay, so we have lots of observations, but not many of them are deep sky. So I'll run through them fairly quickly and won't be too late. So listen, I'm gonna wiggle the cable back here because all gone. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks. So turn some lights off. Okay, then. That's on again. Oh, that's on. I'm gonna have to just look at the, okay, so, here's going back to October, Randy's, Sea Star. We had lots of very active sun. That was the same day, through Coronado and, little eyepiece telescope. And Sue did some sketching, and I think that was the same day, so good work. It's nice to see some sketching and nicely annotated. And so this is Chris the next day with the same telescope at Coronado, but a little bit nicer eyepiece telescope. You can see lots of stuff on the surface. And then Jim was looking for the let's see, I guess the Friday and Saturday before the comet went around the sun, some of us were out in the morning in different places, and I don't think anybody saw it from here, but Jim got a nice shot of the sunrise. And just I'm gonna slide this over so I can look at it here. And this is also looking at the sunrise. It looks much nicer on the screen, on computer screen, than up there. Lots of people saw aurora, and it seems like that night, October 10th, it was good at the beginning, and it was good after midnight, and it wasn't very good in the middle when Cynthia and I were out looking. So, but this was, Jim saw this from Foxtrap.
Looked just like that naked eye.
Yeah, and
I was taken with a cell phone.
so I got a few of Jim's pictures here. Beautiful pictures. And
Give him a couple.
Jamie saw this from Mount Pearl, I think. And so this, when these were coming up online, that's when lots of us jumped in our cars and tried to go to places to look for them. And Cynthia and I went out to Outer Cove, and it was, there must have been over 100 cars along that road. It was dangerous, that there wasn't really room to get along. And by the time we got out there, there wasn't much of a show, but I guess by midnight there was a game. So that was what we could see from the Outer Cove lookout, or actually from the trees behind the Outer Cove lookout. And that's for the fairly long exposure. This is what Randy could see from Kenmount Terrace. There's another one from Kenmount Terrace, and Gary could see a little bit from the East End. And then this is Chris. So Chris was also at, we actually almost ran over Chris because he was standing in the road, because that's the only place people were literally standing in the middle of the road because there were so many cars jammed in. So we kind of weaved around Chris, and he was grateful that we didn't run him over.
When the Cape could.
Yeah, it was late. Well, it was worse than that because there was nobody parking down at the bottom. So he stayed out after us, and you know, the aurora came back, so he got a much better view than we did. But he was out there later. And that's another shot from Chris and Tim. And so these are nice because they're over the city. So you can actually see Kenny's Pond, and the you can see the retirement home in this one. So that's from right inside the city, which is pretty impressive. And it looks more impressive in the actual photograph than when you project it. And the pedals got many, so I'll just run through some of this. So they went to Outer Cove, Middle Cove, Flat Rock, and their place in Torbay. So lots of nice pictures. So these are all the same night. one of them is a,
Is it Sterling? Is that a Sterling?
I think it was an aircraft. I looked
Oh, okay.
into it and it was like alternating colored lights.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
now, one of these I think is a, animation, so let me. Okay, let's just wait for a second here and see if it starts moving.
I zoomed in. Yeah, just put it. Yeah, I kind of gorgeous.
Okay,
Oh,
Are you looking for
Something
the
else.
anime? You looking for the gig?
yeah, oh, there it is, yeah, so. So again, that looks a lot more impressive on the computer screen than up there, but. Yeah, I knew we had a GIF in there
is
somewhere.
that about real?
No.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, so that was our Aurora night. So we had some solar system objects. So Greg did a nice shot of the moon in September, Randy in October. That was actually from that was last Friday. From the Geo Center, I did a shot of Saturn. Saturn's getting kind of side on now. And then we get
Not yet.
this thing, which has been keeping us, so it's a little hard to see up on the screen, but there it is. And Jim was the first one here to see it again on the computer. I can see that a little bit better. There.
Horrible.
Very good, mine is horrible.
And then Jamie saw it. This was what was that? Was that Sunday night or Monday night? Monday night. So there were people all up and down Conception Bay, and the north end, I think was it was clear at the north end and cloudy at the south end. So Bauline was the best bet. And I think if you could have gone up to Pooch Cove and gone across the trail, that probably would have been pretty good. But and pedals were out. Oh, James, this is another one where it's hard to see, but the comet's behind the cloud, but the tail is actually still poking out. These are long exposures on an iPhone, and John Peddle had a little trouble with it, but he got something. And then Nikolai is in Greece, and he seems to be getting some pretty nice pictures, and there's a comet in them. And so it's very nice that he's sending those along to us. And so lots of us went out tonight. So Cynthia and I went up to the Marine Institute, and that's actually got a very nice view in the right direction from the parking lot. And I guess a few of you were out. Robert, did you get something out there?
Many lights right in front.
Oh, okay. Randy got something in.
I got quite a few on there. I'll probably post.
Okay, so next meeting, there'll probably be a couple more comet shots. So deep sky objects, we don't have as many because weather. So the first one, so this is again, I'd like to sort of indicate where, should be doing it over on this one here. Which one's actually projecting? Yeah, okay.
was that article that comment.
Tonight, okay. So around Cepheus, one of the objects is the Iris Nebula, which is reflection nebula, lots of blue in it. And here's a picture from Robert, lovely picture. And Jim did the processing on that, I guess. And very impressive. And also around Cepheus is the fireworks galaxy, so it's about 25 million light years away. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
And, very active star formations called the starburst galaxy. Been lots of supernovas in the last century or so, and so there's Greg's picture of that,
Plates one.
and that was your first use of Nina, right?
Plates or plate solving with Nina.
Yeah. And the Cocoon Nebula, it's a star forming region in Cygnus. So there's Cygnus. There's, oh, there we are. There's the Cocoon Nebula. 4,000 light years away. And so there's Jim's picture of that with the dark nebula that's associated with it.
Can I ask Jim something?
Sure.
There's so many stars in that image when you zoom in, like it amazed me. And background galaxies, like I counted at least a dozen background galaxies in there. You got a star count anywhere in your software?
I can't get it.
I'd say it's well over 10,000.
I'll check it out there.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that Jim does and some of us do is you can send something like this into astrometry.net, and it
Yeah, it's an online plate solver.
it identifies all the little background galaxies and things, and that sometimes it's just full. An image like this. So lovely, and we're going to be hearing about the RASA next month. That lets him do this kind of stuff. A few of us had a shot at the dumbbell, so again, we're in the Cygnus neighborhood. So there's Cygnus. Oh, there we are. And then go down. There's a couple little ones, Vulpecula and Sagitta, and the dumbbell nebulas in there. So it's a planetary nebula, and I've said this before. A star that's less than 8 solar masses in its last stages. The outer envelope can sort of escape from the star, and that becomes the planetary nebula. That can last for about 10,000 years. And the white dwarf is what had been the core, is left behind. And the dumbbell nebula is one of these. And so there's one that I did in October. And there's one that Jim Stacy did. Same nebula. And of course, the Great Cluster in Hercules. So there's Cygnus, Vega, and then you go over here, and there's you can pick out those 4 stars in that shape, and that's where Great Cluster is. That's a globular cluster, thousands of stars, gravitationally bound. Maybe it was a dwarf galaxy that was captured by the Milky Way. They're mostly older stars, but some what are called blue stragglers. So they're stars that are all old. So no massive stars, but sometimes star formation gets restarted. So star formation is over in an object like this, but sometimes if stars collide, they can essentially form a new star, which may be a more massive, hotter blue star. It's 22,000 light years away, so it's one of our favorite objects. So Robert got a nice shot of it there in his refractor. The Cone Nebula, an ionized hydrogen region, and there it is there. So it's sort of near Orion, sort of underneath Orion's arm. And there's the Cone Nebula, there's the Christmas tree cluster. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. So here's a nice shot of, again, it's a wide field shot from Jim. So the Christmas tree clusters down in here, I guess, and the whole Cone Nebula. And I always wonder which parts are which, but
There's a lot of different names for stuff going on there.
Yeah.
There's fur fox.
Yeah.
Something nebula or something like that.
but it's nice with the RASA. You get this very wide field view, and you can see so much stuff with that. So let's see, I guess this one, we've got some shots of the Orion Nebula. So it's starting to be winter, so the Orion it's still a fairly late night object, but the Orion Nebula is a star formation region, not that far away. That's why we can see it so well. So there's a shot from Randy with the sea star.
It was, Petty Harbor, right down the gut. 5 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the comet.
Ah, right. Yes. Okay. Yes. October 5th. I remember that morning. It was cold and disappointing.
So the
I
secret
love it. I
to
was
using
up all
sea
night.
star for comet is you use it for some, known stuff, so it orients itself properly, then it can find things like the comet. But, there weren't enough stars by the time the comet was rising for it to fix in there.
So when something like a comet gets discovered, how quickly does it get downloaded to the?
They update pretty quickly.
Okay, good.
I could see where the comet was gonna rise on the horizon, but it was just pretty close to the sun.
Yeah. And Jim Stacy did a, so this is with his, so this was the same, actually the same deal, right? This was the morning that Jim Stacy was out.
Past him going to Petty Harbor.
Yeah. So where was Jim? He was out at Cape Spear waiting for the comet, also did a picture with his Sony camera of the Orion Nebula.
Oh, that's mine.
This is Greg's, and so this was a high dynamic range deal. So this is some,
First messing around with a demo version of software, but yeah.
so you did a short, medium, and long exposure and fiddled them together somehow. That looks pretty good. Very nice. The Pleiades,
I like a little over.
so we all know, so here's Orion. The Pleiades is up in this direction from Orion, and there's a shot again from Greg. Very nice. See some of the nebulosity. So this dust is not left over from the formation of those stars. I used to tell students that, but it turns out that's a lie. It's just dust that these stars happen to be traveling through.
Okay, just how to be traveling through.
Yeah. Great. So I'm not sure how they figured that out, but and
Good years. Yeah.
this one has, there was actually lots of chat about this one, the Silver Sliver Galaxy. So it's down here. So there's Cassiopeia, the Andromeda Galaxy, Triangulum, and this one is down here, NGC 981. And it's interesting because it's also called the Outer Limits Galaxy. And there have been some musical compositions called, or that referenced NGC 98891 for some reason, including one that was done with a Kunstkopf recording, which for some reason I knew what that was when I saw it on Wikipedia. It's where you go to a concert hall and you use a dummy head with 2 microphones. And in the 70s, that was supposed to be some very clever way to record and get the real effect of sitting in a concert hall. So you can see it's from 1974. And anyway, so Robert got a shot of that. You can see why it's called Silver Sliver. It's called the Outer Limits Galaxy because it was in one of the galaxies in the credits of the Outer Limits. For those of you who can remember the Outer Limits, which probably isn't everybody here. And Jim got, Jim called it the Outer Limits Galaxy, so. And Triangulum, the Andromeda, so Cassiopeia, Andromeda, Triangulum, and Jim got a nice shot of that. M33, and It is the third largest member of the local group, so Andromeda is the largest, Milky Way is the next largest, and Triangulum is the third. And some shots of the Andromeda galaxy, the closest galaxy to us, was actually figured out that it was outside of our own galaxy, that it was not a nebula within our galaxy by Hubble about 100 years ago. So we're just about up to the 100th anniversary of the understanding that Andromeda was outside of our galaxy. So there's one by Greg in September, and there's one in October. Lots of detail in there. That's very nice. And one of them is
M110.
M110.
One is 32 and the
32
higher one's 110.
Okay, 32 and 110.
Yeah.
Which are sort of satellite galaxies. And that's the end of the observation reports. So, Robert, you want to do, we're going to hope that this comes up with the one that you sent in today. This monitor is having some real problems. So, anyway, stand over here and sort of, oh, okay, I'll sort of in the picture
There
now.
we go. Okay. So here's our day-night cycle for October 16th, sunrise, sunset. And we can see that we're looking at 10 hours, 51 minutes, length of the day, shortening as every day goes by. Image of the sun from today, showing some activity there. Sun is still very active at this point in time, and I guess will be so for the next year or so as it starts to decline from the maximum of this particular cycle
Robert,
in its 11
could you
years.
click on the plus just above, in the black bar just above? There's a plus minus.
Is there? I don't see it.
Way up top.
Keep going up.
Oh, up here.
Just
Yeah, just make it a bit bigger.
Okay.
There you go.
How's that?
Yeah, it's
a little bit better.
Okay. So, yeah, you can see that there's some activity going on there. And this blurb tells members that we have a solar scope that can be borrowed for a very nominal fee if you want to have a look yourself. Or perhaps you got a filter that you can use on your own telescope. Planet Roundup just shows us the rise and when it's highest in the sky, the amount of illumination on the planets, and when it sets. Green means possibly observable. And there's a whole bunch of links. Whoa. Oh, you didn't see that, did you?
No,
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
It's the monitor is
Yeah.
unhappy.
Yeah, it's blacked out. Hang on. Uh-oh.
Well, I guess you'll have her turn around.
Okay, all right. Let's see, here's the moon. Now, as you can see, it's pretty full. And the comets, this is the comet that's currently, that we've been looking at, that pictures of. This one here was supposed to be another one that had a lot of possibilities. I'm pretty sure it's that one. And I think it blew up, didn't it?
Somebody, yeah, I heard somebody say it broke up.
Yeah, somebody must have shot it. Anyway, it's gone.
Sun did.
Yeah, the sun did. And here's another one. There are lots that you can see online, but you know, a 10.9 magnitude, as the numbers go up, it gets dimmer and dimmer. So it's fairly dim. So I've only included 3 there. And similar with the asteroids, these are some of the brighter ones that you can see now, which would only appear as a star. And how would you know if it was an asteroid and not a star? Anyone?
would move in your picture.
Yeah, take pictures and night after night, and you would see that, oh, there's one that moved. And that would be the asteroid. Okay. Suggested observing objects, these are what's well positioned for this month in the year. And so there's some binocular treats as well as telescopic treats there for you if you so desire to try and follow along. And there's a challenge object which is a little more difficult if you're so inclined as well. Supernova, right now there's nothing that really knocks your socks off. Sometimes we do get one and then we try and capture it. Usually it's in another galaxy. But that's what we have, or that's what I could find that's happening right now. Meteor showers is just a list of when our meteor showers there are, with the Oranids being the next one. She's dead. Space station passes for our location for the next little while, and you can go online there to the website listed to see many more. That's heavens above. Notes about our observing sessions, that's there every month. It's the same. So if you're new and you're interested in such things, then I would say that it would be a good read. Butterpot outside of the city is for members only, but we do have Observe the Moon sessions, as well as 2 astronomy days per year. And we try as often as we can to get out for the public sessions, which is usually around first quarter. All depends on the weather. So get out, look up, good luck while having fun. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So despite our later start, we've made pretty good time. So I'll just wrap up by reminding you that Jim's going to talk about his RASA telescope next month, and there's a new astro imaging contest coming that we'll probably hear about in another month or so. And with that, I'll draw it to a close. Oh, Randy, hang on. Randy's got something.
I hope to have the calendars next month for sale. First come, first serve.
Okay. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you for giving us a quorum for the AGM. Thank you folks online. And I can still see there's oh, yep. Yeah, a few people joined while we're in progress. Thank you all very much for coming out, and we'll see you again next month. And
Keep looking up.
yep, there's a comment out there.
No.
Okay, bye. I'm going to
Yeah, I know. I just need something bigger than. It's technically not a